Oh my gosh, everybody's still there. Why is it locked? Peace YouTube, this is Florboom coming to you today. I'm sorry. I actually was walking. I wasn't supposed to go live immediately. I was actually walking sinfully into Starbucks to get a chai this morning, which I don't like chai, but I wanted the chai this morning. So I'm walking and I didn't realize I went live. This is why you don't give your abuelas, your aunties, or mothers cell phones and let them go live. Peace YouTube, peace to the east, the west, north, and the south. I'm here to you again on a beautiful rainy day in Florida. And we had like a, I personally think we had a UFO. This breaking news. I personally think we had a mothership fly over us today. Why? Is because at like 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe later, 6:30, roughly 6 o'clock or 6:15 a.m. in Florida, we had like what sounded like a hurricane come through. And I've noted that anytime there are ships, this is just my denotion because I thought it was really odd, even though it's still raining. I think there was a ship that flew by because even the sky looks crazy. I personally think there was a ship and it came with like high winds and like hail. It sounded crazy. I thought it was gonna be, I thought the apocalypse was upon us. Yeah, it was interesting. I can't verify that. Sometimes when I tell you things that I can't, sometimes I'll tell you when I can't verify it, but it was kind of strange. The weather, my new timeline. Big up to all you in my new timeline. You are all aspects of Florboom's new timeline. Big up to you. I'm in a new timeline, and all you wonderful fine folks are in this new timeline. Nonstop lucky dog. This video is dedicated to you because you brought up the hybrid scenario yesterday and bring it up to family. So I thought it was something that we should discuss because there is a sense of hybrid phobia that is going on, and I think a lot of people don't really discuss it, and we're going to kind of get into that concept of reptilian hybridism, hybrid phobia. Okay, and what is that? Any type of phobia is fear of some unknown, fear of an element of something that you do not understand, or you have a disdain for, sometimes innately, or maybe just socially you see it as an issue. So there you go. Okay. Could be just location, everyone. So, this topic is maybe, I'm making up words, issue-ish. I never know how they perceive some of the videos I make. So sometimes they delete the wildest videos. They delete video and like, why did you delete it? Anyway, so they want to talk about the reptilians because really a lot of times we talk about different hybrids. And if you don't know what a hybrid is, like the mixing of two different cell species, usually incorporating them artificially. It's rare that you have a form of hybridism that happens naturally. Nature does do that occasionally, and I've studied that in labs where there's times when the environment disallows for certain species of flowers to thrive. So what happens is the flowers start to merge, pollinate with other flowers. I see it's going to be an issue today. YouTube, just let this come through. I'm going to make the message regardless because I don't do it here. I'll go on Instagram. If I can't go on Instagram, I'll go on Facebook. If I can't go on Facebook, I'll just go live on Twitter. I mean, I'm going to talk about it. I'll do a blog talk. Can't stop, won't stop. Anyway, so there are forms of natural hybridism, which is very rare. Some species will occasionally do that if there is a threat to their existence. There will be an anomaly that shows up maybe in one or two of them, and then they're able to mate with other species. It's very rare. When I say it's so obscure, that's why I want to, get other researchers who really have studied this more intensively. I don't see if I'm on. There I go. I'm on? Finally. I've been waiting forever to be on. Can everyone see me? Okay, I'm finally back on. Perfect. Can you see me? Yes. Oh, finally. Oh my gosh. Really? And I got scratches on my face? You nasty bastards. Nigga representing all day. What? Can't stop, won't stop. Anyway, I mean, really? I didn't even think this topic was going to get any sort of anything. Anyway, let's get into the topic. So, hybridism is something that happens, most likely artificial than anything else. Two cells of species merge together artificially to create a new species, or to create something that is mixed with two different or separate genomes. Okay, so the fact of the matter is that this is happening and has happened since the beginning of what you consider to be mankind. Okay, and we see concept of the hybrid phobia in movies like Aquaman, where Aquaman's mother was from Atlantis, and she came and merged and mated with a human male and created a child that had both the abilities of the marine beings and also was human. So you have that concept. Then I put Medusa. Medusa, I always love to utilize her as my poster child of hybridism, because she's representative of the Naga serpent line, and also she's been demonized in historical archives as being a horrendous and hideous being that froze people from just looking at her gaze, or her gazing at them, which is quite the opposite of what Medusa really was. Medusa was one of the most stunning women. She was part of the Naga serpent Anunnaki line. She had the ability to mesmerize men from all over. There were men who worshipped her. She was absolutely beautiful, and when they looked at her, she put them into a trance-like state. And when the others during colonization came and they saw this serpent empress, who was absolutely the most amazing, mesmerizing species, being that they've ever seen. They didn't even know something like this existed. They flip mode it. They flip mode the whole concept of her. Wow. It's starting to pour. They flip mode the whole concept of her, and they changed it and made it seem as if she was like a hideous being. Also, her hair weren't snakes. She was from the Naga serpent. That's where the connection to the snakes are. But her hair were locks, not dread, locks. She had locks. Just like most of the women at that time who were highly melanated had locks in their hair. So it's interesting that we see a form of hybridism, and also you see hybrids in you see hybrids with, regular animal, like the mule is a hybrid, right? You have I can tell you parts of nature. You have the platypus. The platypus is a hybrid, whether you know it or not. Australia has most of the hybrids as far as animals are concerned that you've ever seen. It looks like a duck. It lays eggs like a duck, but it's ligers are another one. Thank you, ligers, child 7328. Ligers are another one. Well, we know the chickens. Obviously, the chickens are all hybrid. The chickens are also geoengineered food, so they've been stripped of their melanin to make them more susceptible to infiltration in their genomes. So that's why you have pink. They have pink eyes and white feathers. Chickens in nature aren't reminiscent of that. You ever see chickens? Anyone who lives in Hawaii, especially Kauai, Hawaii has a lot of wild chickens, which I love. You see them; they're brown chickens, like reddish feathers, really, really beautiful looking. Those are real chickens. Okay, the same with pigs. Pigs are hybrid. Pigs are hybrid with humans. Okay, that's why they're pink. Boars don't look like pigs. Okay, you see people in certain parts of the world who look like pigs. They have the same complexion as the pig. They have fibers of hair on their face like pigs, because pigs were hybrid. Well, pigs in themselves are hybrid from those type of humans, or those humans are hybrid from pigs too. We got two things going on. Pigs and mixed with the boars. Okay, so that's why the pig's heart was the one heart that can actually be transferred into a human body, because it can adapt, because it's more human like. Okay, that's why in all the different religious books and so on, they blasphemer pig, what is it, pork or swine, because it's human. It's a form of cannibalism when you eat bacon and all that stuff too. Okay, because the modern day pig is a hybrid. But let's go back into reptilians. So we have a form of reptilian hybridphobia that is rampant. It's been that way for a while. You see it in historical archives when they've demonized the snake. That's a form of hybrid phobia, because there were other beings at the time that were serpent beings that were being that were feared. So they were fearful of those hybrids, those reptilian hybrids. Also, we have many on YouTube who make videos of me. Big up to those who like to make videos of me shapeshifting. There are those people on YouTube that make, you know, videos about myself and other people shapeshifting and saying that I'm a horrendous reptilian, that I am hurting people, I am manipulating people's men's mind, mostly men's, because apparently women can't be manipulated either. Go figure that. I'm manipulating men's minds. I'm doing, and a host of other people. And why I'm okay with them making videos saying I'm a reptilian. I hadn't ever said I wasn't. Okay. But why are they demonizing it? Because there's a level of phobia concerning reptilians. The eyes that we have bothers people. Whenever they see the slit eye, and even sometimes when I saw it on television, it didn't really make me fearful. It just made me more aware that there's more hybrids than we even denoted. And of course, they put all hybrids, reptilian hybrids, in the same pocket. You know what I mean? They put them all in the same alignment. They put, you know, they'll put draconians in the same breath as a subterranean reptilian. And subterraneans are really, they're not aggressive. They're not aggressive. To my knowledge, you know, during my timeline jump this morning, I went to the inner earth. I haven't done that, oh my gosh, not consciously ever. So I jumped timeline-wise in the inner earth. And those subterraneans, reptilians, are really cohesive. They aren't hostile whatsoever. Actually, those are the ones who get subjugated and abused when they come to the surface by some of the more hostile, malevolent, sorry, baby in the brain, malevolent reptilians. Then you have one side of the Anunnakis are reptilian. Okay, that's the Nagas serpent line. Then you have the other reptilians. You have the other, like, more so like the Lyrians or the Syrians, who are not so much they're bird and cat beings, but they have some of that reptilian DNA. You have a host of different species of reptilians, and those we don't even know. And usually they all get lumped together. And most people on YouTube make videos talking about the horrendous and awful. All the reptilians are terrible. They're heinous. They're abusive. No, don't get me wrong. There is a certain disposition that does come with reptilians in themselves. Tend to be a little detached. Remember, there's different species. So it's just like I tell people all the time, if you have a snake and you have a mouse and you see that snake go and attack and eat the mouse, to some people that would seem heinous, right? To some people, that would seem just terrible. But on the other level, this is a species, a certain type of reptile that requires to eat. That's its food source. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a cycle of life. So why would you be upset at it behaving in a way that is denoted how it survives? It's the same with the reptilian groups that are hybrid on this planet. The reptilian groups that are hybrid have a lot of these dispositions of their main species, their hub species, right? Their reptilian hub species. And to the modern day mankind or humans, it would be disconcerting, and it is disconcerting for them to see how their behavioral patterns and what they do, which are linked to whatever species they are. I tell people all the time, the draconians eat children. They eat children. Y'all eat baby cows. You know, I'm not saying it's right to eat children, but I'm not saying it's right to eat baby cows either. To rip a calf from its mother and then go and slaughter it right after, almost after it's been born, or a couple days or a couple weeks after it's been born. To me, that's horrendous. But it's the same thing as those who eat children. So you see, we see from an angle sometimes of being so, just so one-sided, or so totally removed from some of our own behavioral patterns as the humans on the planet, who do some of the more heinous things. A lot of these reptilians don't do things, well, we're not talking about the 13, you know, the bloodline of the 13 draconian bloodlines here. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about the minions that follow a dark lord called, you know, in their satanic and Lucifer. I'm not talking about those. Those are sick sociopathic beings that are aligned with a dark sense of, you know, worship. And also a lot of these have attachments of demonics, demons, you know, leagues of beings that are incarnates, that are attached to their actual auric field. That's totally different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a species of reptilian that are literally coexisting, that require flesh to sustain themselves. That's how I know what you are too. Most reptilian groups, if you're hybrid with them, you're not a vegetarian. Depends on the subterranean, maybe. But most of the draconians, the other reptilians, they're meat eaters. They're flesh eaters. And a lot of them are energetic consumers, meaning they consume energy. Okay, they're able to consume energy of people. So that's why a lot of times they provoke or invoke fear in the populace in order to feed off of them. Okay, and there's other groups along with insectilians and other groups of I'm sorry. I'm changing. Yeah, things like that. So yeah, you know, I just wanted to use that as an example, because some people get upset when we mention, hey, golden age. Some people get upset when I talk about the reptilians eating children and eating people. And, you know, Dr. Delbert Blair used to talk about this all the time. He said that plane that disappeared in Indonesia, they ate all the people on the plane, and people were like bugging out. And then he said, well, you know, that's what they do. It's exactly what they do. But again, if you look at what the behavioral pattern or the nutritional requirements of reptilians, you have to look at humans. So if humans are eating, how would you think cows would see you? How would you think chickens would see you? Okay, how do you think some fish would see you? If they could look at you from the point of judgment, they would see you as heinous as many of you see the reptilians. And they would say to you, how are you eating us? Like, y'all are heinous fish eaters. Y'all are heinous cow eaters. You know what I mean? You eat our babies. You know what I mean? Things like that. So we have to make sure when we're talking about this conversation, that's why, you know, I'm really rational when it comes to that. We have to be mindful how you see and how you see from a position. A lot of these reptilians, that's how they coexist. That their behavior is, I've never seen a friendly snake. How many snakes do you walk around that are smiling at you? How many snakes can you go and pet? Okay, can you go? I have beautiful black snakes in my garden. They're gorgeous. I have some of the most beautiful negra serpents in my garden. They're beautiful and they're magnanimous. And especially the mother give birth to their babies with a little red mark on their back, so birds don't eat them because they think they're poisonous. Magnanimous. They're not venomous, but they're beautiful. But how many times can you go to a snake and kiss it on its face and say, "Oh, how cute"? You can't, right? It's rare. Okay, anytime you do that and that happens, usually the only people who can do that are nega. Big up to the nega serpent line who's on here. The nega can do that. The negas have a connection to their serpents. Nega, and that's also how you know someone's mixed with the serpent, is because snakes are enamored by them, and snakes will be all around their house. Welcome to the new paradigm. Nigga, look at this little doggy. The doggy's looking at me. Yeah, serpents are attracted to other serpents, okay? And remember, the serpents also emit their own pheromones. So snakes recognize snakes. Anyway, well, docile snake, that comes with colonizing, that comes with domesticating snakes. Snakes are not to be docile. When you keep them in closed quarters in a glass encagement and feed it dead mice, you know, some people feed them live, but you know, when you do things like that, you change its general disposition. I'm talking about real snakes, not snakes that are put in cages, you know, to be, you know, restricted and act out of sorts. You know what I mean? They're not in their natural habitat. Also, you know, you're frightened of lizards and snakes. No, I mean, you know, I'm grateful to be okay with snakes and lizards, but you know what I am. So with me, it's just a matter of just understanding the different dispositions, but the phobia has to stop. The lack, and this is why it's very important to make these videos. It's very important to acknowledge your hybridism. It's very important if you are a hybrid. Okay, so you know, people are saying, do you always know if you're a hybrid? Okay, I'll say this. The majority of people who are hybrid with reptilians have a knowledge that they're different. I won't say that they know the language or what exactly are the terms reptilian, but they understand that their general disposition is not the same of those people around them. Okay, so someone asked what they know. You know that you're not the same. Do you know that you're a reptilian? You may not know that, but you know something is different about you. You know that people's reaction around you is different. You know that the way that you engage with people is different. You do understand and understand that. So I'll say that. You may not know that you're a reptilian. You may not know you're a draconian. You may not know you're mixed with some sort of ET group. You may not. For the majority of those, and it's rare, that are mixed with 40 and above percentage of reptilian DNA, they know. How do they know? I don't know if you guys ever got a chance to watch, you know, again, I'm a woman of a certain age, Teen Wolf. Big up to, remember, what's his name? Teen Wolf, hold on. Remember Michael J. Fox? Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was covering the camera. Remember not Michael J. Fox? Teen Wolf? I think they made another newer version of it. Okay. Did he know he was a part werewolf? When he went through puberty, right? He started to change. He started to morph. And his parents were full-blooded wolves, right? They were full-blooded lichen or wolves. So he found out, he knew what he was. So when you're 40% above, now that's one thing I will say. And I know this for a fact. Now, this is one of the things I will let you know. I know for a fact, when you are 40+% of reptilian, you will know that you are. It isn't any hiding. And if you're that much percentage, means that you come from the lineage of more pure reptilians that have told you, disclosed it, or your galactic family is cultivating you and you have awareness of it. Okay, those are the ones who are getting contact with ETs. Those are the ones who've been having a level of that we consider to be contactees, or some people consider abductees based on their perception of reality. Those are the ones who know who they are. Okay, there isn't any denying it. Also, some of their natural abilities are all online, 40% and above, because some of you show some of the abilities at less than 1% or less than 10%. Some of you show some of these qualities. Some of you are mixed with reptilian and you already show the disposition and you have less than 10% of the reptilian in you. Because remember, you know, Barack Obama, your president at the time, had denoted on the what's that show? On the View, that people had a reptilian side of the brain. Remember, I told you I never heard that before he said that, but he denoted that on television. Some of you were taught that in your schools. So for that reason, there are people who have general dispositions of reptilian, like a little bit of detachment, of feeding off of negativity. Some of those people like to create coups to feed off of the vibration of fear. You know, I always question those. You know, I remember I was with a full, what would I say? I personally think he was like 20% or more a reptilian, and he was heinous. I could tolerate it because of who I am. I mean, toleration is just basically his cues and his hostility weren't always in negation of me, okay? Because I had an overstanding and understanding of it to a certain degree, okay? And even with my disposition, being connected to the Nagas serpent line, I can see into men, you know, big up to the men who deal with me in their lives. You know, one of the things you'll hear from men who engage with me, and I haven't had many males that have, but one thing you'll hear them say is that I seem a little detached. You know, I'm loving and everything like that, but as far as like connectivity, I can be a little I can be a little stoic, okay? And it's sexy to men. Some men like that. You know, there's men who like hybrid reptilian women. They like the disposition of women like that. You know, I know a lot of men who don't mind my general disposition of being a little stoic or unfolded by things. You know, I can be that way. And it's natural. It isn't something that that's not even a creation from being traumatized. That's a natural way that I am. And yeah, aloof. Thank you. And, you know, like I said, I haven't found an aversion to that, but they notice that. And if they're more reptilian than not, they like it. They find it sexy and attractive, you know. So, you know, it depends on who you're mating with. But again, 40% and above, you know who you are. Your galactic family's with you. You've had contact with ETs. Your family members are also ETs. Also, everybody's disposition is the same. You've probably been told from your youth who and what you are. I think Rudolf of Germany actually went into that when he said there are people here who know who they are. They may not tell you. They may not tell you, but they know who you are, okay? And that being said, is that, you know, the level of fear and phobia, you know, hybrid phobia that's coming from the populace is becoming a little more, I say there's Fred. Fred brought a friend today. Hey, Fred. Hey, guys. My squirrelies are back. There's two of them out here today. Yeah, so what was I saying? Why do I do the stream from my car? I do the stream in my house too. Because I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a triple Sag. I'm always on the move. I do streams in my car. I do streams in my bedroom. I do streams by the pool. I do streams in my living room. I do streams in the kitchen. So yeah, I do it everywhere. Just maybe the streams you're seeing right now or the last 2 days has been in a car. It's just, you know, I do whatever. So what reptilian hybrids are the most pronounced that probably, well, I will say this, and I'm going to keep it real. Draconian hybrids are probably the most feared, and most of the phobias are based on the hybrids of draconians. Remember, you have cronies, the minions of the draconians, the slaves of them. I don't know if you watch vampire movies, that the vampires always have like humans, low form humans that walk and take care of their coffins, that do all their tasks during the daytime when they have to sleep in their coffins and they can't be in the light. These are what the draconians have with the Satanists and Luciferians. Luciferians are older. So a lot of times with Luciferians, I would say that the Luciferians are most likely, and I can't verify all of them, but most of the Luciferians are ET groups, purebreds, or not purebreds, but like 50% and more of them. I would say the Luciferians. So I shouldn't even put Luciferians in the groupies of draconians, because those are the hybrids of the draconians, okay? The Luciferian sect. To my knowledge, some of the Luciferians, you can let me know if that's true, and I'm sure you will. But most of the Satanists are the cronies and the minions to the draconians, okay? And insectilian groups, okay? There's insectilian groups that don't get credit, and you know the insectilian hybrids. You know them pheromonically. I've detailed it. You've got the queens of the insectilian groups are, you know, like, what's her name? Amber Rose, Kim Kardashian, the Kardashian clan, which is an old clan of witches, but it's a clan of witches that are insectilian bred hybrids. And their hybrid is their higher quantity. That's why they entrain men so easily. The hybrids of the insectilians, the queens, I would say Melania is one of them as well. Melania Trump is also an insectilian queen. They're purposefully set and attached to their hybrid to set out to entrain men, powerful men. So a lot of these hybrid queens are engineered purposefully and placed out in the populace to be able to entrain and control the men, powerful men, by other groups. You know, their hub groups of ETs, insectilian ETs. So a lot of times with, you know, you get a Kim Kardashian, you even watch her. If you think I'm not serious, watch Kim Kardashian. She has a career. Her career is opening up her legs and have people having sex with her. Okay. She hasn't a talent as far as an actress, a singer, a dancer. She hasn't a talent. Her talent is her ability to entrain men sexually in the populace. So if you ever watched, you want to know if I'm telling the truth, watch her. Look at her when she's on. Highly stoic, lacking emotion. You think the reptilians don't have an emotional state? The insectilians are they're cold. They don't have any sort of emotions. They're almost like robotoids in how they interact with people. Very manipulative, and not in a sociological way, like manipulative, like almost like the data. They're interesting. But I'm just saying, watch Kim. I always tell people all the time, if you think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, look at Amber Rose videos and watch Kim Kardashian. You will be entrained. Even females get entrained by them. You will feel it in your lower chakra, because that's how they insert themselves. And her pheromones are so strong, it can be televised. Those are strong hybrids. Those are like 50% and above hybrids. But she comes from a clan. And I haven't even verified Amber Rose's family lineage, because if I went into her lineage, remember, she's from Cape Verde. Okay, which is known to be an island of certain types of insectilians and reptiles. So when you start getting into the lineage of some of these women, you go into Melania. Melania is another one. She's a different kind of insectilian. Okay, this is my personal take. I verified it myself. So I'm just saying a lot of these insectilians are based in their feet, and especially the queens. They're set out. Normally, you're only supposed to have one queen per certain radius. Okay? And if you notice, you rarely will see Kim Kardashian in the same vicinity as Amber Rose. Rarely. Because you can't have two queens in the same vicinity. A lot of times they'll battle it out to death in their species world. Okay? They only supposed to, just like in a beehive, you only have one queen. If another female is born and she has queen, like, they'll kill her. Okay? That's rare that you see two queens. Okay? So queens are usually set out purposefully to attach. They hybrid them purposefully to entrain men. So it looks like the men are ruling. It's not them, it's the women. Okay? Those are the hybrids. And people don't really talk as much about the hybrids of the insectilians, because they're hidden. That's the hidden hand. Many of you think it's the reptilian groups ruling. I would beg to differ. I personally know it's the insectilians that have much more control over certain aspects of society than is given credit. The phobia against reptilians is heightened because of people like David Icke. David Icke was set out by the insectilians to have a reptilian smear campaign. He is the smear campaign that was set out to demonize reptilian groups, all reptilian groups, and lump them together. It's just like saying, that's why I tell brown people, not all brown people are alike, but in society, in America, in the nice snakes of America, they have created coups or lump people together so that there's less power or you can't see fully. Okay, that's the same with the reptilians. When David Icke started making videos left and right, thank you, Mystery. I appreciate it. Thank you. When David Icke started making videos, a smear campaign on the reptilians, he was going hard. He was going hard, and he was talking about the queen all the time. I was like, wait a second. That queen is not, to my knowledge, she's not really a reptilian. She's connected to some of the insectilian lines. Why does he keep saying that? And then he was going on and on and on and on. And I was like, thank you, Mystery. Thank you. I appreciate it. He was going on about the queen and the eating children. I was like, why is he only talking about one type of reptilian? I knew who he was demonizing, but I was wondering why there was only one narrative when he was talking about them. So to my knowledge, David Icke is an agent for the insectilians. He is an agent. He's been set out to create this hyper reptilian hybrid phobia, to create difficulties for those of us who come out publicly. Because remember, in the age of Aquarius, there isn't any secrets. If you notice, there's a soft disclosure, and it's becoming stronger and stronger daily. Okay, there's not going to be first contact, because the contact happened from when many of you were created. Hybrid yourselves. We've always had contact with the ETs and the extraterrestrials. Just the sleep and the lack of awareness is why most people won't acknowledge it, or don't even know that it's a plausibility or it's happening. Okay, your government is run by a bunch of draconians, Satanists, Luciferians, and aspects of the insectilian clans, colonies. Could I be considered insane? It depends on how you see it. How human does your government act? And some of these actors on television, which are considered your governmental representatives, aren't even human. They're not even flesh and blood. They're biobots placed there by reptilian groups to be representing a certain person, and they're just actors. Remember, Mr. Corey went into that on the last show. These people aren't real. I'm just saying, a lot of times we have to, I'm not proing any species. What I'm saying is that the hybrid phobia has to end. Because if you realize that most of us are hybrids anyway, why would you hate on another group? Understanding who and what we're around, transparency is required. I agree. I want to know that it's a draconian that I'm sitting and talking with. I could be okay with that. Like, you know how many people I know that are not human? Wait, hold on. Sorry. You know how many people I know that aren't human? Listen, I even saw Kirk. Big up to Kirk. Kirk is in the new timeline. He's a little nervous with me. Oh, thank you, Indio Scorpion. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Kirk is this Kirk in this timeline, my warrior, because Kirk isn't fearful of anything. Kirk is he feels a certain way because I ditched him in the last timeline. I should stop. This is what I'm saying. This is why I have issues with men. I see things in humor sometimes that are probably not humorous to the other party. Big up to Kirk. I do love Kirk. So if that goes out in the airways, I do love Kirk. Just not the version of him in the last timeline. This version of him, he's treading cautiously. I did find an aspect of Captain Kirk, but Captain Kirk is feeling a little defeatist because, his serpent mate went ghost. I'm a little tolerant of certain things. Yeah, anyway, so even him, I saw, listen, family, should I not say this publicly? Well, I claim my species. I claim what I am. I guess I can kind of blow his spot a little bit. He's a warrior. He doesn't care. Like even when I was looking at his picture, because I was looking, I was getting a little nostalgic. Even though I'll ghost someone or I'll cut someone off easily, that's that serpent line. We do that. And I'm a fire sign. I just do it. If you do something that's misaligned with me or I don't feel it's integrity written, I'll tell you off. I'll tell you why. I've learned to tell you why. Not tell you off. I'll tell you why and just keep it moving. I just do that. I do that eloquently. I do it well. It can be hurtful to others. But when I was looking at our pictures, I looked at his picture and his right eye was reptile-like. And I was like, oh my gosh, no. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, wait a second. Is he? And in my mind, I'm like, is this rational or is this in this timeline? Because I have to think to myself, why wouldn't I see his shape-shifted eyes in, yeah, my hormones don't help, KM. Thank you. I agree. My hormones are, they're there. But I was looking at his eyes. I was like, yo, he has reptilian eye. It was one. I was like, how come I didn't see that? So even thank you, Lightworker. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's very sweet. Yeah, his eye was reptile. And it could be why I was attracted to him. I personally know I've accepted this. This is one of my shadows. I'm going to disclose one of my shadows on YouTube Live. I'm highly attracted to aggressive reptilians. Warrior-like reptilians. I am pheromonically harmonic with the alphas of the reptilian bloodline. I find them the sexiest. I love mating with them. I do. And it's just what I have to own up. It was a shadow that I was kind of like fighting, and I knew it existed, and I was realizing there was a pattern of men that I really appreciated and I really was more drawn to. And you too, Nora? I'm attracted to those warrior reptiles, those reptilians that like in the battles on our original planets, like I'm down with them. Like I'm so enamored and so attracted to them. I have to get over keeping that, letting that be a shadow and not accepting that. I accept that aspect of my shadow. I'm incorporating that in who I am, and that's just what it is. Okay, I'm coming to the realization that that's what I am most attracted to and I'm most harmonic pheromonically with. And all these years of me being obsessed with reptiles and reptilians was an aspect of me projecting who I was and what I'm really attracted to and what I'm in alignment with, and it's reptiles. I'm down with the reptilians, yes. And all these people used to call and say, Florbrand's a reptilian and she's this and that. And I would be like, why are they doing that? But they just saw what I already knew. It's what I am. And why should I hide that? This is the disclosure. We're here, we exist. I am an elemental, but elemental doesn't take away from my reptilian lineage. I'm okay with that. And I accept that, and it's what I'm going to own now. So me talking about or talking about reptilians will come from a more balanced position rather than just blowing their spots. Because before I was just freaking out watching Housewives or whatever, watching all these shows, seeing the eyes shapeshift, and at the meantime, people are taking pictures of my eyes shapeshift. So I'm like, do unto others. Some of you Christians were like this: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. They were seeing the same things that I was seeing in other people, and at the end of the day, I had to accept what it is that I was. Is there any way to find out your origin? A lot of times, like I said, it depends on who you're mixed with, what reptilian group you're mixed with. I think what it is that what I noticed and this is something over the years, because many of you know me for years on YouTube. What I noticed is over the years this. Draconians like to hang with other Draconians, okay? Sub-Saharan reptilians hang out with other sub-Saharan reptilians. And sectilians tend to not want to hang with anyone. And sectilians are a little more... Look at the Asian societies. Look at the societies like more so like China, Korea. Look at the general disposition of the people. That's more insectilian. Very like robotic in the way that they are, and masters at mathematics, masters at science. Those are more so insectilian type of qualities. I would say that's more that. But loners, I'm a loner and have a fear of spiders. You have arachnophobia. Loners could be any group, because a lot of times people who are mixed with are hybrid with some of these reptilians, they don't want to be around other people because they feel a sense of they feel different, they feel judged, and they don't feel connected to the people around them. So I don't want to say that you being rogue or being by yourself all the time, you being alone all the time is an aspect saying that you're not reptilian. It just could mean that you feel the judgment, the phobia, the hybrid phobia coming from the mankind or the other beings that are around. You know, you may feel that way. So I don't want to say that, because I've known a lot of people who have reptilian type of qualities and genomes that don't like to be around people like that. They just don't. You're afraid of spiders. Being afraid of spiders does not make you non-insectilian. Spiders are a whole nother form. First of all, the scientists, all those scientists doing all the epigenetics and the hybriding going on in New Mexico in the underground facilities, they're hybriding a lot of people with spiders. They're hybriding a lot of people with spiders. We need to be mindful of that too, because I've not... The only time I've come in contact with those who are considered to be arachnid hybrids was that time I was listening to the Savaggio toning. Remember the Savaggio? I told you I was listening to the Savaggio for a while. You know, they have different things. You can heal this by listening to the frequencies, the different Savaggio toning frequencies on YouTube. You know, they had one for like, you know, healing your brain, healing your body, you know, clearing your, you know, they have Savaggio, they have it all over. But I told you I stopped doing it. You know why, right? Because I told you one time, only one time that I listened to one and I fell asleep. I woke up with red-eyed spider people on my ceiling and I left it alone. I didn't mess with it again. That's the first time that's happened and the last time. That's the only time I think I've come in contact with a hybrid spider group. And those groups are the ones that probably the most, I don't even think we talk, I don't even know that we talk about them. They're isolated groups. Again, I don't know them to be a natural species galactically. I do know that the government has hybrid people with spiders in the underground facility in New Mexico, in Dulce, New Mexico. Okay, there's a lot of them, and people were saying they were seeing spider people outside of the houses and stuff. So when you start seeing those, I'm just saying, I don't want to judge them, but just, you know how spiders do. And I you know, there are beings here, I'm sure. I don't know them. You know, some of you may know spiders. I save lives of spiders all the time, okay? Because I'm aligned with Mother Tiamat, and I know all life matters. And even with the other day, because you know I have really dark hair, right? I have dark curly or wavy hair, so I'm outside all the time under trees. Spiders go in my hair, and sometimes I don't notice them until they like web down, right? So I know that'll freak some people out. With my daughters too. So there was a spider. What was this, like 2 days ago? There was this baby spider in my hair, and then she just nicely put a web in front of my face, and I see her, and I stay away from screaming. I just take her web, take her nicely off, and put her outside. I save every life that I come in contact with. I try to do that all the time. You know, anytime, especially the babies, baby spiders, I always put them outside. I make sure that I put them somewhere safe so they won't be eaten by the, you know, because the reptiles eat bugs, okay? They eat the bugs. So I put them somewhere, you know, somewhere else where they're not going to be harmed. If I see the bigger, like the only ones that bothered me was the wolf spiders. The wolf spiders were big and hairy. Anyone who lives in the Northeast, you know what I'm talking about, because they are in the trees and they go in your house sometimes and stay in corners. Not like the brown recluse. That's the one that's poisonous that you can die from, okay? Not the brown recluse. Be careful putting your hand underneath cabinets, because brown recluses stay recluse. Listen to their name. They stay under cabinets, and once they bite you, they can kill you, okay? They cause, they have like a venom that will paralyze your body and stop your heart. Okay, so be careful with that, with the babies. I always tell my girls, you know, especially somewhere where it's damp, because then, you know, I always tell them put gloves if you go into the cabinets or stuff like that, okay? Black widows are in the South too. Black widows are there as well. Yeah, but I make sure with the hairy spiders, like usually with Mr. Kirk, you know, or my dad, when my dad was living, I told you my dad nearly flipped out when I told him to come downstairs to my place and get a spider, and the wolf spider was like this big in a corner of my bathroom. And my dad was like, what? Oh my God, what do you want me to do? You want me to save him? He was like, I'm scared. My dad was so, my dad, listen, he was this big. That was a huge wolf spider. My dad nearly flipped out. And he loves me so much. My father, I love my daddy. Even in the ethers, He was like, what do you want me to do with the spider? He said, I said, Daddy, don't hurt him. He said, don't hurt him. He said he's gonna hurt me. It was so funny. He took him, he was freaked out. And yo, you know when a spider is bad, like when I say bad isn't good, you know when a spider is like the big honcho, when he doesn't move. When a spider knows that he's got more to him than you have, that wolf spider stood his ground. My dad was like, he ain't even moving. I love my daddy. I love you, Daddy. I miss my dad. Yeah. No, my daddy went outside. Yeah, he put him outside. My dad knew I would have cried for days. I would have. He knew. My dad raised me like that. So he knew his little girl that was a grown woman wouldn't forgive him if he hurt that spider. So he put the spider outside. He put like a big, because it was like, we had, you know when you have those basins? Like I had a basin thing. So he put the basin on top of it. And my dad would love this story. He put a basin on top of it. The spider didn't move. And then he put like a folder underneath. And he was, my dad was using expletives the whole time. And he put it through. He threw the whole basin out the backyard. He didn't even go. It was so funny. Anyway, I'm just saying that's the kind of life I come from. You know, anybody who loves me, any man that I'm with, he's the same. Kirk is like that. Kirk is amazing with animals. I love him for that reason. Animals will come to him. He lived by a lake, beautiful lake with what is that? What is that? Like a fountain shooting up, and the baby ducks would see Kirk come out of his house, and every morning they see him with the mother's permission. The mother and them would waddle over to Mr. Kirk, and that's what my girls waddle over to Mr. Kirk, and he would go and give him, sometimes he would give him, I told him to stop giving them bread because it bloats his stomach, so he would give them like lettuce and so on, but every morning they would follow him. Like every animal loves Kirk, and he's the best trainer of dogs as well. He's a Taurus. Yeah, he's a Taurus. Yeah. Animals love you too, High Priestess. Yeah. Taurus. I love that. That's a sexy quality. Men who are very good to animals and very loving with nature. You want to get with me? You be one of those men. You be a good father figure and love animals. I will love the heck out of you. I fall in love with men like that so easily because I think compassion is the most attractive thing in the world. Yeah, but even my ex-Nazi was really loving with animals. He actually, his family was hey sensei, PC star. His family were farmers from back in the days, and plants loved my husband, my ex-Nazi. They loved him. All our plants in our house, all the plants loved when he came in the house. You could feel them. They loved him. They were in love. My plants were in love with my ex-Nazi. I wasn't, but they loved him. They did. He was great with plants. Every plant that he would touch would thrive because he had that kind of background. He just was good with that. He wasn't good with women, but he was darn good with plants. Go figure that. And he was a Cancer. So I don't know if that makes any difference in how he showed up with the plants, but he was beautiful. The ex-Nazi, yeah. I love you, Tauruses. I won't get with another Taurus. Kirk will be the only Taurus that I ever get with. You guys are sultry sign. I really appreciate you, Tauruses. Yeah, I think I've never had an earth. I didn't have a lot of lovers previous to, Kirk, because remember I was with the same man for like 18 years, and before him I was with a guy for 5 years, so I didn't have a really big dating spill. I never got a chance to sow my oats. I never did. But what I noticed is that with Taurus is the first time I've gotten with the earth sign. Yeah, they're amazing lovers. Crystal and they're amazing lovers. Yeah, they're just amazing. Like as far as that, it's just, but y'all get stuck. Like the only thing about Taurus is y'all are stoic. Like you are unmoving and unwavering. And remember, I'm a fire sign triple, so I'm always in action. Like if I want to do something, I'm gonna do it, and I want to do it now. Like the thought, like sitting there for like centuries, debating whether you should move forward or not. That is the kryptonite of a Sagittarius. And it's why, yeah, stubborn as heck. And it's why we are not together anymore. I'm a mover and shaker, and I have to have a partner that is with that. And I make Tauruses feel you know, Tauruses are very can be very possessive too. So you got to be careful with that because they don't like all that moving and shaking. Yeah, their beautiful father was a Taurus. I'm a Scorpio. Yeah. Anyway, what do you think about having a natural birth with Juliana? My outlaws, I think she did what I think we saw her being finally who she is. I think I didn't judge her for going to get an epidural. Where I judged her is when she said that weak women get epidurals. I think that was just karma coming to smack her in her face. You know, when she said on a live one time that only weak women get epidurals and drugs during pregnancy, you know, karma would have it that the first thing she did when to get rid of that pain of labor was go get an epidural and some drugs. You know, so I think a lot of times be careful how you judge others, or if you say blanket statements like that. I've tried to refrain from that because every single time I've done it, it comes into my realm of what happens to me, and then the universe says, oh, you don't think, you only think weak women get epidurals? Okay, let me put you in a scenario where the pain is so crazy and there isn't anything for you to do and you have no options. That's why she got that. So, you know, I'm grateful the baby's healthy. You know, my thing at the end of the day, I want everyone to have healthy babies. That's, you know, I'm grateful she had a healthy baby. That's all. And I'm grateful it was a girl because that's karma to nature not. Okay? To have to see his little girl, he subjugates women. He has a hatred of women, and now he has a little girl. So, and a host of people in a tribe who molested their sisters, who raped women, those are in the tribe around his little girl. So let's see how he deals with that, having a whole bunch of men that are perverts, including himself, being around a little baby girl. Okay? You said, but Liliana got her karma. She was all talk, no action, and down talked many people. Well, life will humble you. Yeah, life will humble you. Every time you see something in life, you just want to observe it without judgment, because you will always deal with what you judge the most, the harshest. That's all. So, a baby in a den of lions. Yeah, let's see how that goes. Because I'm just telling you, he was okay with those men being around his son, but I don't know, nature not be allowing these men to be around his daughter, and he has a perverted disposition. Remember, he's a Taurus as well. Okay, Taurus man. Okay, a very sick one at that. It's going to show. And I personally, this is my prediction. It's not even a prediction. I know it's going to happen. She's going to leave. Anybody who has a child in that tribe leaves. Every single person leaves. He's anti-children. Okay? Because of the child, she will leave. She's going to end up leaving. Because she will be ill-tolerant of him sticking his penis in females whenever he wants, grunting. Whenever we're mothers, we become more protective. When my little ones were little, it just was instinctive for me to be really, really on top of them and disallowing of people. I didn't want people to come around with their dirty hands for like 6 weeks. I just didn't. So I'm just saying, mothers are protective. And then you take the element of hybrids. There's certain hybrids that will kill for their offspring. You know what I mean? You have the black widow spider who will mate with another black widow spider and then eat him. Listen to what the black widow spider does, family. That's what I'm saying. Those hybrids, those spider hybrids, I'm just saying, a black widow spider will mate, let him inseminate all inside of her, and then and eat him and feed him to her children. Come on now. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. We got hybrids on this planet. Dulce, New Mexico. I remember talking to Delbert Blair because he knew the way I was. And we used to make jokes because my nickname is Del, and his name is Del. So we always talked about his nickname being Del because Delbert, and mine was Del. Okay, so I remember he knows how curious I am, and at the time I was really spry, right? So I wanted to go and see what was going down in New Mexico. And at the time I could go fly up there. So he said, stay the heck away from Dulce, New Mexico. He said, don't go down there. He was like, there's spider people all over the city. There's all kinds of disappearances of children and animals. He said they're doing so many diabolical spells underneath the, not spells. They're doing all this hybriding of all these different species together. Of all, some of them, things you shouldn't mix together, and they're all in Dulce, New Mexico. He said that, and I just left it alone because at the end of the day, I do appreciate my life, and I'm grateful I'm here with the breath in my lungs and healthy disposition. I want to stay that way. I'm grateful to have that already. So he said, stay the hell away from it. I remember him saying that. But the spider people that I told you when I did the Savaggio, I didn't know what those look like, but that thing crawling on my ceiling, when I woke up, I'm gonna stay away from that. I'm just saying, call me a little nervous with that one, but the spider beings, we talk about insectilians, that's a version. If there's a planet with those, woo, be careful. Don't pull any karmic from the spiders, though, because remember, every smaller version we have on Earth, there's a bigger version in the galactics. Make sure you're not going around killing spiders like you just a Nazi, because there'll be a consequence. And sometimes right now with all the reveals of all these different groups that are showing up galactically, you better be mindful, because if their kin shows up and they know that you're a arachna killer, arachna slayer, you might have a consequence to that. I'm just saying, just be mindful what you kill when you go around recklessly killing things that are brought to life. It does bringing life into the world isn't what is Savaggio. Listen, I couldn't tell you which Savaggio it was. All I know is I stopped listening to all of them. I did. I didn't listen to any more Savaggios after that. Call me paranoid, but I didn't know that was plausible. And it's obviously not all Savaggios, because not everybody gets that. But whatever, I fell asleep because I used to sleep to them. I love the subliminal messages. Someone sent me a Savaggio with, you gotta be careful too, because the language, sometimes they put subliminal words and phrases behind the music or the sound frequency. You gotta be careful, because one thing I stay clear of is negation. So when someone has a mantra and all it says, I do not, I want not, I never, I want not, any nots or nevers or any negation, I know this, that doesn't exist in the universe. So actually, if you're listening to mantras like that, this is just a FYI to anyone who does, that will make you pull in whatever you're saying you don't want. So be mindful of saying don't, no, not, never. Whenever you say that, you're going to pull in exactly what you say you never want. So be careful of that. So even when you're listening to these Savaggios, make sure you can see the language you're using, because a lot of these mantras or these contracts that they want you to break, there's tons of negations. Even when I get them or I want to do a contract, I will take all the negations out. I will tell you what I want, or I'll replace them with zero. I require zero of something, because zero has a value still. Okay, just be careful with that. I think a lot of people don't notice that. And if you notice I replaced my words. If you aren't noticing it, start to notice that, so that you're aware that that language is spelling you. It's a spell. Okay, and that spell will put you in whatever you're negating, because there isn't any no's or nevers in the universe. It doesn't recognize that word or those negations. It only recognizes what comes after it. So be careful with that. Goddess, do you have pretty big eyes? Are they light? Okay. It's an inclusion-based universe. Yes. Only say what you do want. Absolutely, Darla Dawn. Absolutely. I have magic eyes. Ooh, magic eyes are beautiful. Anyway, back on hybrids. So hybrid phobia is rampant. Be careful of those. And even with our young person who said they were a hybrid, someone was asking how they know they're a hybrid. If I don't want to, I want to stay clear of demonizing someone who claims to be a hybrid, whether it's true or not. Just to say that you are denotes that you have a sense of uniqueness that you acknowledge. And I think that's bigger than whether or not it's verifiable that they're a hybrid or not. So I say, if you can verify, it's not that you need to verify that you're a hybrid. The fact that you state that and you are claiming that, I appreciate you're claiming and acknowledging your uniqueness. I really appreciate it. So I stay clear of trying to verify everyone who says they're a hybrid. Okay, so if you feel that way about yourself and you feel you're that way, I would say be very cautious and careful, because a lot of our people from our sect, from our famille, get locked up and medicated and indoctrinated from telling people that they're hearing voices or that they're in contact with ETs or they're being taken. Just be careful, because you're living in a zombie infested world with people that are Smiths and people that are sitting there in lack of awareness. They think that we are insane. They do, until they start seeing things, because many people, even years ago, when I was taking pictures of the second son, they thought I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, or that it was sun dogs. And now all those people who judged me, I didn't really care whether they judged me or not. I knew my truth, and I knew what I was seeing, and I knew what I knew. Years later, oh my gosh, I see the second son. You were so right. I don't need your clarification. I didn't need it. I hadn't any need for it at the time. I knew what I knew. So I wasn't there to verify to anyone who wasn't in alignment with it. That's what I'm saying. My channel is for those who are in alignment with what we share. Now, it isn't everybody who's going to be in alignment. I haven't been anyone's cup of tea. There isn't any reason to be anyone's cup of tea. Either you rock with this information or you don't. Some things you may rock with or appreciate what I share, and some things you don't. And I haven't any need for an expectation of you to do so. Okay, I always say utilize your first mind. Whatever you feel in alignment with, that's what you go with, because we're very different. Everybody's very unique in that way. That's why I tell you to be mindful of who you follow. Verify things on your own. Vet things out. Question everything. Okay, I know there's ETs here. I know I've been in contact with them since the beginning. I knew as a little child. My parents could verify. My dad's not around anymore. My mother could. There was levels of contact that I was having that at the time I didn't understand, but now I do, as a grown woman, as a rationally grown woman who's rearing little children, who's living in the world with rational sense of being. I understand that. So I'm okay with the level of censure that comes from the outer world who hasn't any perceivement or understanding of what we're encountering. But I've seen them. They all exist, and I've seen it in myself. So they are here. If there is any question that you're living in a multiverse, that we are the only human beings living in this universe, I would question your sanity. I would question your level of Stockholm syndrome. Because if you think for any moment that you could be living with a multitude of planets and that we're the only ones living there consciously and somewhat intelligent, you have a problem. And I don't really fight with people like that. I stay clear of them because I know they're suffering from Stockholm syndrome. And I also know that there is a level of indoctrination that comes with those who are being neutralized by foods, by television, by, devices. I know all that. So I stay clear of people, but they come to me. They come to me later. Like even the mommies, that's why people are like, oh my gosh, you say this and you have children in public places and in instructions or what you call school. Yeah, the moms all know. Fleur Brune has been out of the galactic closet for over I've been out. I haven't ever been in the galactic closet. Talk to people. I always tell people when people talk smack about me, right, Fred? Fred is looking at me again. Fred is on my tree. Hey, Fred. Fred, why do you stare at me every day? Hold on, Fred. You want to see Fred again? Fred just watches me every day. Look at Fred. Say hi, Fred. Say hi. I love Fred. He watches me every day. He doesn't like me sitting. I'll go underneath that tree over there. I love Fred. I love our animals. Anyway, yeah, I haven't been in the galactic closet. If you talk to anyone back in the days, they'll tell you, they'll say my real name, Del was always like that. You know what I mean? So there isn't any fear when it comes to me talking about ETs talking publicly. I could care less who thinks any differently. I'm okay with me. I'm okay with the contact, discussing it publicly. I also know when my level of intel comes from the Andromedans, that it is something they protect me. They make sure that I'm able to have these platforms to do this, because I tell you, family, as much interference as you hear, there is a lot going on to protect me and to really support me. So as much as you may get little glimpses of interference or shutting certain things down, there is a whole host of beings who are in cohesion and really keeping me healthy and safe and protected. So I appreciate them. So, you know, I just say this: if you are a hybrid and you feel that you are, it isn't necessary for you to necessarily go to each person and discuss your hybridism or what you are or what you think you are, but it is healthy for you to find others that are in receptivity of that information. It is healthy for you to chill out with people who are similar to you, even if it's only one person. And I also said, I also told oh, I just lost my train of thought. That's so interesting. I have moments lately. What was I saying? I also told someone yesterday that if you want to find places to meet people like yourself, go to meetup.com. Not for dating or anything like that. I'm not bringing this to something like, that has to do with relationships. I'm talking about go to Meetup. Why I say it, maybe there's newer sites, because remember, that's what I did back in the days. I haven't had a need to require that anymore, because I have all you wonderful people who I can talk to, who I can speak. Many of you, I talk to you behind the lines. I talk to Mr. Corey, I talk to Barry Littleton. These are all contactees. I talk to Aborazine, I talk to the Sea Stars, I talk to YOLO, I talk to, Kendra, I used to talk to about this. I talk to my Sea Stars and my Sun Stars. So I have people who are in alignment with me at this point. So I'm grateful for that. But if you are in a more secluded type of scenario, for me back in the days, at the very beginning, I personally got a lot of connection to those galactic families through Meetup. Okay, especially when I was a farmer. I love them. And I met some of the most amazing people who are on here right now who still rock with me. Okay, so it happens. You just have to be proactive. If that's what you want. Not everybody wants to be out and about, but there isn't any need for you to hide who you are. You could be who you are and be grateful for it. And be in alignment with that, and find others that are like that, because you'll find little or zero judgment. No wonder I've been wanting my eyebrows thicker, but my hair thick is clever. My hand. Ra made. I saw him. Remember, he's adverse to the Andromedans aren't in favor of Ra Hotep. He knows that. I'd stay away from even having conversations about him. He shares what he wants to. Remember, people's frequency show up in who and what they are. Okay, so if he resonates with you, then by all means you listen to him. But I always discussed, even with the other one, the gentleman who claims he's a Satanist, who's all about the Baphomet. I saw him in person. Right? When I saw him in person, he looked out of frequency of somebody who's considered to be really, really healthy, or someone who should be talking about spirituality, because it didn't show up in his physical state of being. Okay? When I'm seeing somebody who looks out of alignment of everything that they claim they talk and they practice, I think that they're full of it, or they're just trying to promote something to make money. Okay? So I'm just saying, big up to B.O.B. behave myself. You know, so like I said, if you follow Rahotep, I mean, like I said, he's got most of his phenomenal videos that he shares a lot, which I think are more valid, are about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, I think he had a lot of videos that were on point. Now, you know, like I said, I judge a character by how they show up in the world. Okay, and when someone shows up in the world a certain way, you have to take that in consideration, because everything is relative. Okay, if I keep telling you that I'm spiritually astute and I'm about this life, and I show up looking, you know, reckless or, you know, chaotic, or my environment looks, you know, out of sorts, I wouldn't question you questioning me. You know what I mean? So High Priestess said he's better looking in person. B.O.B. is better looking in person. TV does him no justice, I will say that. He's when I went to the conference, he's my cup of tea as far as visuals. He's my type though. So, you know, but he isn't my type with the type of character he's hanging out with, that's utilizing him and feeding off of him like a vampire, because he gives information, and B.O.B. found he was aligned with the information, but, you know, he didn't have to necessarily attach to that creature, you know. I don't want to say creature, that person. Let me take that back. I retract that. That person, he didn't have to be attached to the person that he's giving information from. B.O.B. has a tendency to put everybody that he cares about or he respects in his videos, and, you know, puts them out. He shares his fame with the people he admires, which is admirable in itself. I think it's beautiful in itself, but he has to be careful with that, because you giving too much life to people, or giving that type of shine to people who haven't earned that, there's a consequence to that karmically, and he has to be careful, because it may mess with his own fame, the way that he shows up in the world by being attached to people that haven't earned that are parasitic and vampiric, latching on to him to get that and piggyback off of his fame. So I'm just my opinion, you know, and maybe it's because I have an affinity for him, and I think that's a form of usury and vampirism. So, you know, I kind of question that to a certain degree. So, you know, I just say, let me move on. I don't want to go any further into that. You know, sometimes I'll say things. Ooh, I have 111 likes. There's the 11. There's the 11 right there. The 111. It shows up whenever I jump timelines. Oh, and for those who listened to my video yesterday, who saw me jumping timelines, that's part of my jumping. I love that you get to see it though, because whenever I jump timelines, you see doubling up in my videos. So that's because I jump timelines. Every time I jump timelines, you'll see that like looping in my videos. Completely off topic. Completely off topic, Fleur. Do you think being pregnant makes you more in tune with the divine? Me personally, or just women? I don't think it's a general thing with all women, making them more divine being pregnant. I've met some vile pregnant women. So I don't think pregnancy makes someone being more in tune with the divine. I think it allows for, if you're in that frequency, allows for more receptivity of it, and also illuminates whatever more that you already have in alignment with the divine. I think that's the case. But no, I like I said, I've met some women who are breeders. Remember, the Satanists breed women to have children to kill and murder and rituals. There's called breeders, and Satanists and Luciferians have breeders, women that are picked and sought out to just give birth to children to murder and ritualize them. So pregnancy does not do that for everyone. I just want to put that out there, because that isn't true. Okay, certain women, yes. The jump is going well. Like I said on Patreon, I kind of discussed what I'm seeing. I saw something wild yesterday again. I'm getting all kinds of, this jump is amazing. All of them are amazing, but this one, I mean, I have so many verifiable things that it's a jump. It's wild. Like, if you think I didn't jump, watch my videos yesterday. You'll realize I jumped timelines. I did. Yeah. In this timeline, so much has changed, so much is different in this timeline. It's eerie. I accept it. I accept it because that's what I chose to do. You know, and I'm mindful, and I'm okay to jump timelines. Remember, my little ones jump timelines too, so it's cool to verify because they're living with me. So it's cool to get verification from the same little ones that live with you from your timeline, because they see the change as well. So I kind of think that's cool. How can I tell this is my first one? I've been taking notes. How you tell, you have to verify. You have to be really, you have to study. You have to take notes and notice things that are changed, that you may think are changed, because it's not all the time that you think the change is change, because you use a level of paranoia too when you jump timelines. But what you have to do is take notes. Like, if you know there were certain places, like stores before, like yesterday, there used to be a store right there next to another store and it was gone, and then there was a new store in a new location with the purple and white, which is showing up in this timeline. So those are the things that I knew were changes in this timeline. Also, you got to be mindful that the relationships you have with people have changed, or those people may not exist anymore. Like in this timeline, at least in yesterday, Kirk wasn't really in my timeline. He wasn't even in it. And then today in this one, he is. So you have to be okay with the little changes. The color of things, you know, palettes of colors, you know, signs. You know, if you used to see a sign in the same place and it's gone, that's you jumping timelines. It changes. Very subtle. It's a Mandela effect. It's some are greater, some are more smaller, more subtle. So you just have to take notes. That's why taking notes when you do your jumps is really, really, really important. You have to do that. Cancer group people. What cancer? The type cancer? Cancer types. Remember, I was married to a Cancer. Y'all are very sensitive. Y'all are sensitive as heck. Cancers are just, I find Cancers to be unique in how they show up. They're not as reclusive as you would think Cancers would be. Fleur, you back with Kirk considering the baby? Hold on, I'll go on to Cancers and I'll answer that. Cancers can be, I gotta remember, y'all are sensitive. You can be very family oriented. I love that about Cancers, but it's only their family that they're concerned about. Cancers are family oriented, only with their family, not with other people's family. Cancers disposition, they can be a little selfish in that whatever they want or desire is all that matters to them. Cancers. Cancers really love Sagittarius. I don't know why. So it's one of the group of males that will always seek Sagittarius out, or women like myself, more so than anything else. But what will drive a Cancer crazy is my lack of wanting to be nestled in a little, you know, because Cancers like to have their home space. Cancers like to have their home space, and they like to have all their treats and goodies in a little space. They like to stay indoors. They're homebodies sometimes. Not all the times, depending on their moon and sun and all that good stuff. But a lot of Cancers like to have home base, and they like to have everything in their home base. They like everything to be in their home. So when you go to a Cancer's home, they got everything they need for like the whole, they are the bug out. They are the bug out bag. Cancers have everything they need in their home. They don't require to have to go out to get anything. They make their home, they make their shells just perfectly everything that they desire in their shells. There isn't anything they require outside their shells. So if you like being home with a Cancer and watching movies, and you know, they're good with that. You know, Cancers are good, and they're good. They have good perspective on things. Cancers are very feeling, so they see things more so than most people do, because they're very sensitive. So they really see people for how they really are. Okay. Yeah. Cancers are, you know, as far as Kirk, Kirk is, remember, I did this time line to jump and find Captain Kirk. Kirk is around, you know, it isn't that he isn't, but the person in the past timeline of Kirk, when I did the last jump, was adverse to Flurbrun in that time, and the person I jumped, when I jumped, I was adverse to the Kirk that's there. Probably the Flurbrun that was there previous was cohesive with the Kirk. I wasn't. So when I jumped this timeline, his vibration didn't show up right away. maybe because, you know, I snuffed them in the past timeline, so it shows up in remnants of this one. I can't really say because I would have to have, you know, I haven't communicated with him yet because I'm waiting for the timeline jump to be over. I'm like that. I want to wait for the jumps to happen. But I see a future of us having conversations. I mean, Kirk is a very loving man, and he's a Taurus, so he's very family oriented. So, you know, Captain Kirk will show up, but the version of him that will be better will be the one that I accept, you know, because I'm just about that life. I'm about that life. What hybrid species are Pisces people? Well, Pisces is a sign. Yeah, that's not a hybrid. Hold on, hold on. Hold on, I have the chart. Ooh, you know, I gotta stop leaving my charger. Hold on, I left my charger. You know, it can waste the batteries. I just realized, do I get enough sleep? I missed day 13, Fleur. What will happen? No, Fleur, tend to look mystical. Hold on, I didn't read. Species, realist, race, realist, love of diversity. You craving, Leo's craving French fries. Pisces are sensitive. I utilize, and maybe it's not the right term. I utilize the Pisces energy I utilize them for the perimeter of energy. Y'all are the perimeter of energy. You can test perimeter of energy with Pisces. Pisces feel all the energetic influxes. Whenever we're getting all these time shifts and these vortexes, I mean these energetic influxes in, Pisces feel them. Pisces can feel people's emotions from long distances, especially if they have an attachment to them. You got to be protective of Pisces. Pisces tend to be very susceptible to abuse and usage. People use Pisces because they're so loving, and when Pisces are with you, they're all in. You know what I mean? When a Pisces loves you, they're all in. They'll give you their heart. Especially the females. You got to be careful. And female Pisces don't really rock with other females. They're more isolatory females. Okay. Hold on. Yeah. You know. So with Pisces female, I always say Pisces females like to stay more isolated. Hold on. I'm just reading comments. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, again, sorry. I was just reading the comment. Yeah, Pisces are isolatory females. They don't like to hang with other females. They do well with males. Like a Pisces female can rock with a whole group of males, and she could be in control of that. But as soon as she mates with a certain male, if he's abusive and he's a user, he will utilize her energy for that reason. Okay, so be careful with that. As a Pisces female, you'll be used. And Pisces are into belief systems. Got to be careful with Pisces. Pisces are in the clouds a little bit, because remember, we're going out of the Piscean age, which is about belief. Okay, they have a lot of beliefs that are not necessarily tangible. So sometimes Pisces can be out in space with their belief system, you know, just believing what someone tells them or believing what's out there. So you got to be careful, Pisces, but they're beautiful. And like I said, I utilize the energy of a Piscean to read the perimeters in the environment. I can tell when something's about to go down with the Pisces. She'll show it immediately. Okay, she'll show signs of it immediately. And yes, Cancer men, from all I know about Cancer men, all Cancer men that I know, listen to me, all Cancer men that I know like to sleep with tend to be known as cheaters. I don't really believe in cheating, but they are not one to be one-women men. Okay, so someone mentioned that, and I agree with them. Cancerian men are philanderers. It's for my knowledge, and remember, I know a lot of them because yeah, they're philanderers. They're not one-women men. I haven't known one Cancer man. Listen, I know a lot of Cancers. I know a lot of Cancer men, and I have 0 Cancer men that I've ever known that weren't cheaters. They cheat like you change your shoes daily. It's not funny. I mean, I don't believe in cheating. Remember, monogamy, my concept of monogamy is a little different than most, but you know, I'm just saying, you know, if you're looking for a man that has more stay-to-itiveness, Cancers are not that. They will love you. Let me state that they will love you, but as far as loyalty in that way, I haven't known a Cancer man. Women are different. Remember, signs change, the sexes, the gender changes the frequency of how they show up in the world. But Cancer men are, if you're looking for somebody who's a one woman man, Cancers aren't the ones, okay? And they will lie to your face. They will lie. They like to protect their home space, so they will lie to protect their home, their shell, okay? But yeah. The ladies too? Oh, I didn't know about the. Thank you, Leslie. Apparently, Cancer women are the same. The one Cancer woman I knew that I was close to, she was a cheater too. You know, I just assumed it was just her though. You know, but you know, cheating. I don't want to get in concepts of cheating because you know, monogamy. My thoughts on monogamy and polygamy. I just think people should mate as needed. You know, I think binding yourself to one partnership so long past the expiration date, that's why people have failed relationships. You know, I think, you know, that's just what it is. I think relationships fail because people put too much stake in a theory that isn't natural. Okay, monogamy is a natural, polygamy is a natural. I don't care what these pseudo-conscious men tell you. They will tell you all day that polygamy is natural because it promotes their lack of self-restraint with their wands. Okay, so they will just promote it because it's in their favor. But if you tell them, okay, you could do what you, is it okay if your spouse or your girlfriend does the same? They won't be good with it. Okay, so, you know, it's good for the goose and not good for the gander. I'm just saying, in a society, in a healthy society, people mate as needed, just like animals. Okay, listen, me, Fleur Brune, I'm walking in the wild looking ready, willing, and able, and I meet another masterful reptilian like myself, and we do a mating call. He shows me all his prowess, his strength, and then I mate with him, and then he impregnates me and gives me masterful babies. And then after this certain period of time, I move forward, and then I meet another masterful, healthy male that's healthy. You know, it just depends. I personally think that monogamy is one of those things that is promoted for the suppression of the female. It's only for the suppression of the female, because I haven't heard any man ever complain about monogamy because he isn't monogamous. Most men, even if they are monogamous, commingle with men that aren't. I enjoy mating with a male. I'm okay with it, but I'm just saying the concept of monogamy is a slavery. It is meant to enslave the female. It is meant to suppress and keep her restrained, because most females outlive men sexually. Okay, so a woman in her heightened state of, when she comes into her prime, she's in her 40s. Men go into the primes in their 20s, and then they just decline after that. So I'm just saying, it's not disrespect to any men. Big up to our sun stars on here. I'm just saying, just be careful with that concept of monogamy and polygamy, because those are both promoted, and they're the same coin, just opposite ends on different ends of the coin. That's all it is. It's the same thing on opposite ends, and you already know duality, how that plays out. It needs to be in the balances in the middle, not on either end. It's unnatural. In polygamy, women are unhappy. In monogamy, women are unhappy. What about that is natural? Women tend to be cohesive with one man when they're, especially when they're mothering or when they're so on. They're okay to be with one man and be, you know, safe, because men are protectors. So he'll bring back food, he'll bring back resources to his home base with his family. That's the case. But as soon as there's a certain period of time when they've lived out that union, there needs to be an agreement that they've outlived whatever it is they were meant to live. You know, chemistry is for a short period of time for a reason. And no women, and let me tell you something, sun stars, because our sea stars won't tell you, because they're trying to save your feelings, but women are attracted to men more than men are attracted to other women. We just hide that. We hide it. A woman can be so overly attracted to men that she meets, and she won't show it. So, you know, men are talking about, oh, it's unnatural because women don't attract to men. No, women have higher libidos too than males. A woman can have sex consistently during a day more than a male can. So we need to be very realistic. I think we hear things about female and male dispositions from a male's point of view. You rarely hear it from a female. I know, I'm telling everybody our goodies, right, Blackwell? I'm just saying, I already talked about this on Instagram. I don't want to go too deep into this because, you know, it hurts a lot of the men's feelings sometimes if they're not in alignment. Some of the men already know. I know sun stars that are healthy, who have a healthy disposition with women. This doesn't bother them, this conversation. This only bothers those men who are yoni hoarders, who hoard women's yonis and are unwilling to let go of this falsado that they are the only ones who have these cravings for sex in a way that supersedes the partnership that they're in. Women have it as well, more so than men. And that's why at this time, the millennials are actually having heightened sex. The female millennials are out there acting in ways that the previous males were acting like. I'm just saying, you know, I'm keeping it real. Florborn. So how do we build a family if we can't marry? I don't say union. I say unions are healthy. But remember, there's different types of people and different types of dispositions. And remember we talked about hybrids? There are hybrids like whales and certain mammals. They mate for life. Certain birds mate for life. You get a dolphin and a whale and a certain bird, they mate for life. But anything that's predatorial, the predators... Predators are anything that comes from a predatory species. Reptilians aren't long-term maters. They don't. Some of them are hit or miss. Some of them are drive-by maters. That's it. So if you're the type of person that enjoys being with one partnership and you see that long term, it really it's a kind of denotion of higher consciousness too. Sometimes for mating from a position of being in long-term relationships, then you have to stay in alignment with that and make sure that you're transparent to disallow for philanderers to even come within your perimeter. Okay, there's a lot of males out here that are overstimulated by social media, and are in denial about their general disposition, so they're not honest with you. The key to healthy relationships is transparency. Okay, transparency. You can have any kind of relationship if you have transparency. It's beautiful. But at the end of the day, honesty, you have to know who you are. I talked to you. The reason why I was so decent with Kirk is because we had a certain honesty about our shadows. Certain aspects of your shadows show up sexually, and you have to acknowledge that. Some people are in denial, you know. So if you're a long-term type of female, and just make sure you are long-term. You may think that you are because you don't have a lot of choices in your, let me state this, sea stars. I'm talking to our sea stars here, our young ladies. You may think you're a long-term female because you don't have a lot of choices. Why do you think they send men to war? Why do you think they lessen the amount of men, appropriate men or alphas in the populace? Because I will tell you, they did studies, and this is something I can back up with facts. They did studies on the military bases where men go away for long periods of time and females are there with a host of other men that are on land while their husbands are off overseas. There was a higher rate of women replacing the men, and it was more normal than not that as soon as her man would go overseas, she would replace him with another man that was in the vicinity. So I'm just telling you, you may think you're long-term because you have limited choices. When there's more choices in the pool of males, women will pick other men if the one is not acting correct or he isn't available. That's the issue. Why you get a lot of women in heartache is because there's not as many permissible males around. You take a woman and you put her in an environment with more males, she has more choices, and she will be less hell-bent on staying in one relationship past the expiration date. That's a fact. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sun Stars. I love you, man. I love you. I love you, males. I think you're magnanimous. I have to say this to them because they get hurt when I say these things because they think that it's just them that have these cravings. We're all well, not all of us are human, but most of us are human. Or some of us are other species or mixed with them. But I will say this. If you as a male, as a sun star, have the inkling and necessity and you enjoy female company and you enjoy mating with females, and sometimes you like one and you like another, that is the same way females feel. They're just judged harsher for feeling that way because we're living in we're coming out of a patriarchy that was in the suppression of the female. So women feel that way. Like I said, all the women I know, if you put them in the realm of other males in close proximity, and she won't deal with a male that's acting out of sorts. Like if a male's acting out of sorts, she has 20 other choices. That's why men are doing what they're doing, because they're acting in because they have natural choices. Same with females. Females will do exactly the same thing. The military bases did a study on it. Anytime the husbands went away or the men went away, the women would quickly replace them. And there was the same type of behavioral pattern as men do today. So I'm just saying that. So just be careful with you as a woman saying, I'm a one woman kind of man. You are a one woman kind of man because you may think that you have limited choices. You put more of the males that you are attracted to in a close proximity, they will vie for you. And men also like competition, even though they'll tell you not. They'll try to get rid of other men that are attracted to you. They try to make you get rid of your guy friends. They try to isolate you because they don't like competition. But healthy competition is what gives you better choices. When you start getting rid of your guy friends because he says he doesn't feel comfortable around it, or you start isolating yourself from other men, that's you putting yourself in an isolatory position that he wouldn't do. That's you putting yourself in that position and disallowing you to see healthy qualities in men, and also being able to put him against men that have higher qualities, maybe more virile, maybe more pheromonic harmonic with you. So I would tell you all the time, young sea stars, us who are more seasoned, we know this game already. You keep your male friends and you keep males around you that have prospects in you as far as children or attractiveness. You keep them around you because they will keep the man that you're with in line. Because he knows that if he steps out of line and he goes out with Debbie, that you have your own choices as well. It will keep him more, based and more focused on you, because men like competition. Men like hunting. That's what they do. Every species of male likes to hunt. They do. And I don't ever believe I could care less what he tells you. I'm different than other men. That I disagree. I've known every kind of man. I've known passive men. I've known beautiful sun stars that are aggressive. I know men that are, blue collar workers. I know white collar workers. And one thing is, I know the general consensus, and I'm a woman of a certain age, they all like hunting and they all like competition. They'll say they don't because it makes them have to keep being in a frenzy mode, but that's what males like. So when he sees you as isolated and nobody else wants you because he loses interest in you. He does. He loses interest in you. It's not about games. It's the mating. It's a mating ritual. It's just part of mating. It's not even a game. It's how all species mate. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to make men feel uncomfortable, but, I'm trying to level off the playing field and just let you know is that you are just as desirable and you have just as many options, but make sure let me take that back, the negation. Make sure you keep your options opened, okay? Because men are doing it, and there are a lot of women out here who care less about your feelings. They could care less if they hurt your family. They could care less because a lot of times, and it's not that they're thoughts. It is the natural mating process. Listen, the most desirable man is usually attached to a very desirable woman. Women are more attracted to a man who's with a beautiful, successful woman than a man who's with someone who isn't. Okay, so that doesn't make her a thought. That makes her cunning and smart. She wants to mate with a very desirable mate. The fact that a very desirable woman who has a high paralysis is attracted to him and with him makes him even more desirable. That is part of the mating ritual. It's like Klingons. Watch Klingons. I do not like the option thing. I just feel the way maybe it's the Scorpio in me. Okay. Um, yeah, just like saying thought. I mean, we got to be careful judging other women for wanting to have a strong mate. If they see you with a strong mate and you're beautiful and luscious, they to a certain degree, they're mating with you. They want to mate with you as well. It's a little bit of there's a little bit of extra in there as well. Okay. I don't want to go too deep on this because we'll go on this, and I talked about this already. I don't want to go into like speciesism, because again, there are certain species that are here that are more hell-bent on staying with one partnership, and there are other species that are multi-partnership people. And all the reptilian groups, as far as I know, are all multi-partnership people. They are multifaceted maters, so females and males. Okay, so for those who if you crave raw meat, it's because you're lacking iron. Up your iron intake, you'll stop craving raw meat. I love Florent brings the divine. I just want to bring you to I appreciated having women. I come from Creole women, and my grandma. You met my grandmère, abuela, right? You met her. She kept it real with me, and I told you what she told me. I told you on Instagram what she told me. Maybe I shouldn't say it on. She told me before I got married I should take on a lover. Listen to my grandmother. People are like, and I looked at her like she was crazy. She said it in French. It's like there's an old saying to that. Okay. So she says to me, before I get married, she said, men, she says to me, almost the day before, I think it was the day before, the week before, I don't remember. She says to me, you're going to get married now. And remember, men always like men have an issue with what's too available. You should take on a lover, and that will keep your marriage solidified. I'm not a polygamist. No. I'm zero polygamy. No. Polygamy would mean that I would have multiple partners sexually. It is my disposition. I like mating with one male at a time. Okay. Polygamy is not for me. Monogamy isn't for me, and polygamy isn't for me. I'm not hell-bent on being in an oppressive relationship where someone is perpetually keeping you tethered to a relationship even past their expiration date. So, I'm not a fan of monogamy either. I'm a fan of mating at will, meaning that you mate as necessary, meaning that whatever I feel, as long as it's not hurting anyone or hurting myself or putting myself in harm's way, that's how I feel. Okay. Swinging, no. Having multiple partners at the same time, no. Negative. I'm zero polygamist. I'm zero polyamorous. I'm zero multiple partners multiple times. No. I personally think mating at will is the healthiest disposition. It's a more balanced position, meaning that if I'm with someone, and I tell you, sun stars and sea stars, what's crazy? Whenever you have an open concept where you mate at will, both partnerships end up staying together longer. Listen to that. This is the crazy part. When you aren't tethered and you're not too free with something, you end up staying with the same partnership longer because you both have healthy options. When everyone has options, people will choose better partnerships. So when everybody has options open, everybody will choose better partnerships. Absolutely. I've noticed that whenever everybody, like one gentleman is really attractive and he has multiple of women liking him, and the other female, she's really attractive, have multiple people liking them, and then they choose from a position of power rather than lack, they usually end up staying together for, there's the 11, thank you. They end up staying together for long periods of time. Fleur, why do I? Oh, I said, Cynthia, I was telling you, crave raw meat because you are lacking iron. Okay. Now, if you have other dispositions, like you are aggressive sexually with your males, you tend to dominate them, or you have a detached disposition with people, or you have violent tendencies out of the blue, like you just have tantrums, I would say you have a disposition of maybe a reptilian. Okay. So I think you could have a reptilian quality if those are additives to you, you liking raw meat. Okay. you guys are asking some interesting questions about fellatio. Don't ask me these questions on, ask me these questions on Instagram. Instagram, yeah, Instagram. If the girl looks good, I definitely won't go with the guy. He gotta be fine. Yeah, go on Instagram, because I don't, these questions are, you know, I gotta be careful. I don't, there's children on here, you know, I'm very protective of the babies. You know, it's a daytime. This is Flirtable After Dark conversation. You know, I've talked fellatio. Every time I try to talk about fellatio, it always gets sidebar in a conversation. I've talked about this, you know, again, I'll probably discuss this on Patreon on another day. Tonight is Aquarius rising ninth gate. So be careful with married people with attracting negative entities. Yeah, yeah, I don't, yeah, let's go back to hybrids. Anyway, I'm gonna kind of wrap it up. Yeah, let me just say this. There isn't anybody who should have multiple, oh, thank you, Aris, thank you. How does your mating work with family dynamics? Do you have multiple baby fathers at once, or move on to another mate after a certain time? Are you asking about me? Well, this is how I see it. When you're mating at will, generally you will see women have children with multiple men, but generally you'll see them have children, like they'll have 2 or 3 children with one, maybe 2 with another. You know, they'll have a lump of them, or more than one, with one mate, and then they'll mate with another. Okay, I see that as healthy, to be honest. It is, you know, I had the same children by the same man for the longest time, so, you know, that's fine. But mating at will would allow for more choices with your gene pool to be expressed, so that you have more of a plausibility of having healthier children, or healthier, successful children in the future. So if we're going on nature, it would be healthier for a woman to choose wider spans of mating with multiple gene pools to allow for her children to be more successful. Do I say you should have multiple children with multiple men? You know, no, I wouldn't say do it like just recklessly, but I would say if you can, and it's healthy, and you're financially capable, this is when we bring in some rationality to it too. Mate with rationality. You know, I would say make sure that you are financially healthy. Okay, you know, just like polygamists talk a lot of things. The one thing that quote unquote the polygamists will say is you can have, or Islam would say, you can have as many wives as you can afford. It's kind of like that concept. You should only mate from a position of what you can handle. You know, if you aren't in a position where you're financially healthy, I would say refrain from mating like that. Okay, mating with anyone. To be honest, if you aren't financially astute, you don't know how my concept is. If you're allowing exchange sexually, you should only mate with people you would have children with. And if you're mating with them, you have to take in consideration you can have children. So I only think you should mate if you're financially healthy. I think people should refrain from mating if they're not financially responsible, or you're not healthy frequency wise as far as abundance. Okay, and you should only mate with males or females that are abundant in the way that they exist along with yourself. I think that can work out. Okay. I just think it's healthier if you look in even the animal kingdom. You know, having your gene pool spread across a little wider span allows for more successful children. That's all. You know, I'm not saying you should, but I'm just saying I don't judge women who do. Okay, you know, if she has, I've known women who had, because I think women that are the most demonized are women that have multiple children by multiple men when they're acting more in nature, because that's more in her natural state. Women who are in their more primal state will mate like that. They will have multiple fathers for their children, but they're usually called ghetto or thoughts. So you see how they demonize it? Be careful of being demonized for things that would be considered natural, because men do that all the time. Trump has children. Your President Trump has children. Listen to how men will get upset at me saying or encouraging women to at will, but they wouldn't criticize their president for having children with his first wife, Ivanka, right? Is it Ivanka? Yeah. Having children with the one he had an affair with, which was Marla Maples, and then having children later on with the Insectilian, which is Millennia. Okay. Would anyone judge him? So this is where we say it's very imbalanced, because there's a lot of judgment on women partaking like this, but when men do it, there doesn't seem to be any conversation about it or as much criticism about it. So I just say be balanced. If you see men doing that, it is natural, and when you see women doing it, it's natural. But why is one censured? One is basically just let to be and never really discussed or seen as demonized, but the other one is. Okay, so that's all. That's my concept. Not everybody's down with that. I'm just saying, I say do what works for you. But I think I've seen too many people, especially, when you get a little more seasoned, I've seen too many people staying in relationships where they're consistently, tethered to a relationship that is no longer, it isn't any longer cohesive, meaning that they're staying past the expiration date. And once you stay past the expiration date of anything, you get toxified. You'll become nutricide. You'll get sick being with a partnership that isn't serving your great. And I don't say you should hurt somebody or lie to someone. What I say is be very honest and be cohesive. Adulterers will have car collisions, can't keep money in their account, lose their family, honor, respect. They will get sick and they will be cheated on. KM, I agree with you. I do agree with you. KM, very good. KM, very good. Like I want you to actually, yeah. KM, I totally agree with you. People who are adulterers, listen to that. Liars, because adulterers are liars. These are people who aren't self-aware. These are manipulators. These are people who are living double lives. Okay, so yes, I agree with you. Adulterers will have car collisions. I know this for a fact because I just saw this a couple weeks ago. Car collisions. They won't be able to keep any money. They don't have any respect. And yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, I think when you are a liar, and you lie, when you are dishonest with yourself and the person that you're supposedly engaging with, these are the things that will happen. If you're real, if you're healthy, if you Trump is a misogynist. GVNNA. Yeah, yes. Dennis Mercher, what's, oh my God, not true. Would you say you don't think it's true? What's not true? DMJ. He's gross. Well, I mean, it's all judgment. Like I said, but he isn't doing anything different than a lot of men do in your general world. Gotta get my daughter on this transmission. Her dad is Muslim. What is the point of relationship when love is all around? We're supposed to love everybody. Why would you limit your love? I didn't say sex. Love. This is why the conversation needs to be a little broader. I'm not really talking. It isn't sharing love. Loving people is healthy. I love Kirk. I love him. I loved my husband. I love Kirk. Why does one have to negate the other? Loving people, I didn't think we had to limit who we loved. You know what I mean? Love is something that we should just be able to do without limitation, right? Giving yourself sexually is something different, or allowing sexual exchange is different. It's totally different. I wouldn't tell you to go reckless sleeping with. Notice what I said. I didn't say you to go reckless sleeping with every single person. I said that people in monogamy tend to stay past the expiration date. I know more people that are seasoned. Now, mind you, the seasoned people will understand this more. I know more people who are seasoned, who are my age or plus, that are in relationships in a household where they're not having sex with their partner anymore. They don't even like their partner like that anymore. They're not attracted to them physically. They're staying almost like siblings in a household. This is what I'm saying. Is that healthy? Is that healthy to be in a partnership where you feel stoic or you feel trapped? That isn't healthy. Okay, so I'm just saying that if you're honest with who you are, binding someone isn't healthy either. I love who I love. And there may be a day that our love, as far as physically, transcends that physical love, that physical. And if it transcends the physical, would be okay to say, listen, you're my rock. I love you. You know, love doesn't mean it's always physical. I love you, you know, but I want to, maybe we should move forward in our own lives to enjoy our lives. Or not even a discussion, just live. You know what I mean? Not bringing extra people in your household and having sex with them like, animals or like Satanists. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying mate as needed. Some people are not like that. Some people like to stay with the same partner. They like the routine. They like it. They like it even if they're not having physical sex with them. Some people like that. I just think the concept of these things are meant to keep people in bind by these rules and regulations that aren't natural. Okay? Should partners accept one another to be intimate with people they get attracted to? By doing so, wouldn't it be real life? I don't say accept. Okay, I'm not saying we got to be mindful of, we're talking about holistic people being with holistic people who don't see their partnership as a ownership kind of thing. Okay. If I love someone and I've been with them for a number of years and now we become more like siblings than we do lovers anymore, I think if we're holistic and we're healthy, we would just say we can keep the core household cool and healthy. But if that is something that is past the expiration date and they're okay with it, then perhaps they could be able to, if they meet someone, have the discussion, say, listen, I met someone who, I want to explore or I feel like I'm in alignment with, and discuss that and be transparent and move forward, not incorporate the person in their life, but not wreck the whole relationship, not leave them and hurt them. No. That's all I'm just saying. So I could be a little more detailed, but I don't want to get on it. I've talked about this too long, and it isn't. Remember, it's my concept. So just remember that. Breaking up the family. How many family systems do you know are working right now? You tell me. How is that breaking up the family? How many family systems do you know are working right now in monogamy or polygamy, functioning perfectly well, without someone stepping out and cheating, or them not being cohesive, and partnerships of people that don't like each other staying in a household? How many? Okay. When you tell me, give me the ratio. Okay. Give me the ratio, because what's going on in society isn't working. My parents were married 60 years, but that was from an old system where people had to be together financially to keep the family, afloat. Okay, I'm just saying, I know zero people who are having healthy families, quote unquote. It isn't working. How many women do you know that call my show or talk to me and call me all the time saying their partners are cheating on them or sleeping with other women or talking to other women or soliciting other women? I could tell you about 90% of the women I talk to, their partners are talking to other women, even if they don't know about it. So I'm just saying, yoni hoarders. I'm just saying it's happening. So I agree. I agree that it's unfortunate because people are not self-aware of who and what they are. So they're engaged in relationships and kind of sitting in it and not even knowing they didn't get the book. They didn't get the instruction book on how to cohesively be in a relationship with narcissists or sociopaths or people that are just detached or people who aren't about that life. Okay? Okay, and most of the people getting hurt are women. There are men getting hurt, but it's mostly women. So it's uneven and it isn't working. So I'm giving you another concept, what I know works. What I know works. When people are honest and healthy and women have way more choices, there's less of that breaking bonds. There's less of that hurting someone because people are coming from a healthy disposition. And like I said, most women have just as much sexual requirements and as men, if not more. Okay? So I know the extreme of both. So I'm just saying, if you want to be in a cohesive, if you're in a relationship with a reptilian, and we talked about this on a topic, one maters, one people maters. They aren't. They serial mate. You know, this is like someone giving you hard truth. They serial mate. All reptilians serial mate. I don't care if he's lying or she's lying to you. It's what it is. Polygamy isn't okay. Yeah, polygamy is just, like I said, is hoarding. It's one-sided. It's one person getting all the cake, all the candy, and just saying nanny nanny poo poo. I got all the cake. I got extra cake, and you just gonna have this cake, but I'm gonna have all the cake. That's all that is. Okay, so polygamy is a hoardery. That's all. Enjoy yourselves. I listen. I mated with the same man for 18 years. So you're not talking to somebody who was out there. I mated with the same one person previous to him for 5 years. So I'm a serial mater. Okay, but my concept isn't monogamy. Look at that, family. I'm non-monogamous, and my relationships lasted more than people who are considered to be quote unquote monogamous and polygamous. Listen to that. Look at me. I didn't say it ended well, but I'm just saying it. You know, I still talk to the Nazi, and I still talk to Kirk. So what does that say to you? So I'm a non-monogamous person promoting healthy, transparent conversation, and I had longer relationships than most who consider themselves to be polygamous or monogamous. Okay? Go figure that. And the only reason it ended is because the suppression of the males is far greater than I could tolerate. Okay? Monogamous means one partnership at a time. Yes, it does. But how much time? Yeah, how much time is one partnership? Because I don't know many. I know people who claim to be monogamous. I haven't met many monogamous people. I haven't met many monogamous people who claim to be in monogamous relationships. Because their partners are either talking to another person, getting mentally attached to other people, because it's nature. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And I'm saying it's one-sided. It's usually men, but now the women are now much more, now women are becoming similar to the men patterning. But I just said healthy choices on both sides creates what you consider to be monogamy. What you consider to be monogamy is having healthy choices on both sides. Anyway, we could go on all day. I just went off on a tangent for what, like a half an hour, 45 minutes on monogamy. It's an interesting conversation. I know people who are going to listen to this. I wish I could cut this video off on that point because it's too much going into this. Like I said, page on Instagram, we go in this all night. You know, I've had a concept and I talk about my concept of this. And you may think it's different, and it's fine. And agreement isn't something you have to do with me. You can have your own concept of it. I have my concept on what I know and what I know exists and how I see things and from the angle I see it. So please don't think you have to rah-rah or cheerlead me on what I know to be, okay? Because everybody's different. It's just what I accept and what I know works in my realm, and I know what I see hasn't worked in the world. So I know that my concept of what it is has worked better than most, because again, I am that type of person, and my relationships lasted more than people were considered to be what they call themselves to be. That's all. So I'm just saying, I love being in love. When I love someone, I love them amazingly. I love them emphatically. I do. I love them. So I can be in love with one person at a time. I've loved two men at a time. Okay. My ex and, my previous partner. I loved them both at the same time. I love them in different ways. I love them. So you can love people, multiple people. That's what I'm saying. Love is not limited. When I love you, you know it. I will bat for you. I will come. I will protect you. I'm just that type of person. So, you know, this isn't somebody who's talking to you who comes from a very detached disposition. I can be a little stoic and relate. Like I can be a little, you know, like I can be. I'm loving, but I won't. I will jump out of a relationship once I feel like it's hit that point. I've stayed past the expiration date with my marriage, even, but I will leave a relationship. I will, you know, dissolve it if it isn't healthy for me. I will. Just that's a sag in me. If it isn't working, why I feel like, why are you trying to fix something that's already, if that puzzle piece doesn't fit in, why are you trying to cut it and try to fit it in a piece that it isn't ever going to fit properly? That's all. If you want marriage and children, I think it's beautiful. I had it with one man. So, I mean, you know, I've had children with one, now I'm having another baby, but I'm just saying I had two children with one man. I was married for 18 years. Okay. I think from a different perspective now. That's all. So I think it's beautiful. Love who you want to love, be who you want to be with, but be realistic with who you are, and stay away from concepts that are archaic and meant to suppress you. And I'm talking more so to our females, to our, because men get this. I haven't known many men that don't get this. They get this because their options are more open, and society sees them when their options is open. They aren't getting censure or criticized as much when they explore their options. Rarely do you see men get criticized for exploring their options. Women get criticized all the time from exploring your option. Oh, my husband was a Cancer. My husband was a Cancer. Could you imagine that? And he's the Nazi. Imagine that household. Cancers, man. Woo! Woo! Anyway, I have to go, family. I want to go and take care of some errands. I talk to you wonderful people all day, and I just wanted to maybe make this more transparent with conversations of you know, hybrids, and you know, disallowing others to tell you or make you feel a certain way about who you may be as far as a hybrid, or the concept of hybrids, because they're everywhere. Everyone is hybrid to a certain degree on this planet. There isn't any pure breeds, and any pure breeds you see of anything are hidden. Are hidden. Okay. And you know, again, if we leave these concepts open of hybrids and allow for more soft disclosure. I am a woman man. I am a one woman man. But to be honest, I often feel attracted to other women. Leslie, see, you understand. Yeah. I mean, universal mud puppies. What does that mean? Is that derogatory? Your name is Death Rebirth. Are you a Satanist? Universal mud puppies. That seems like something derogatory. That's more species based. I rebuke you. Christians love when I say that. As someone that feels stuck in a relationship, I do agree and understand all of you say. I mean, this is a mature conversation. This is a mature conversation with a woman of a certain age that should happen. I have this conversation with my girlfriends, and we get it. All my girlfriends get it. We you know, we all get it. But I think a lot of times, you know, this hurts a lot of people's feelings, because you would have to be very self-aware to be open and receptive to the concept that we are meant to love and express love in a non-restrictive way. And part of that is engaging in the world without restrictions, not hurting anyone, not being archaic, not being hoardery. I'm not talking about people going out and getting multiple partners or having multiple we're talking about mature connections with people, meeting someone who drives your soul, like you want to physically interact with them because you want to feel what that is, and engaging in that, you know what I mean, from a holistic point of view, not from the lower chakras, not from lust, but from a sense of connectivity Okay, that's the kind of love I'm talking about. And when you have a family with a male or female and you want to keep your unit there, that's why saying having open conversations with each other about what are the directives of your family, what you would like to do in order to keep the core settled. Because remember, you don't have to disrupt the core to be able to love others. You can keep your core value. I kept my core, my family's, I'm not with my ex, and my core family is gratefully healthy. I run a beautiful ship and they love their father. Do you see what I mean? The core can always be healthy. The concept of your core being disrupted because you are loving someone else, that why would that disrupt your core if it's healthy? If both of your partnerships are healthy and saying, we love our family, we're going to still engage, we'll still do our family trips, we'll still do all our family things, that why loving someone else disrupts that is beyond me. Okay? Why? Okay? Because jealousy and ego get involved? Is that what it is? You have a jealousy of a person, but if you're balanced and you have the same amount of choices and the same amount of privileges, why would jealousy even come into concept? That's why saying females, you have to, our sea stars, you have to understand part of the reason why females are so jealous and so hurt is because they aren't aware that they should have choices too. The suppression of the female has been strong on the planet. So the reason why females get so jealous is because they close their options off to please the men who are always option opened. Okay? So you're always pleasing men and their options are open freely, and women are the ones who close their options off. So you feel kind of jealous because you feel like you've sacrificed, right, the options to be with one man. But he hasn't sacrificed those options for you. Similar options will lead for a cohesive relationship. Date people in a healthy disposition and a balanced disposition, and both sides, you'd be surprised. If you want a monogamous relationship, I bet you if you have all your options open on both sides, people will be hell-bent on keeping that relationship healthy because they will put more effort into a relationship where they know that everybody's options are open. Oh, yeah, Tauruses are jealous. She said Taurus was going through her phone. Welcome to my world. Tauruses are earth signs. They like to have their options open, but they want to restrict yours. Yeah, options. Yeah, both must have options closed. Well, if options are closed, then it's balanced. Either options open on both sides or options closed. I agree with that. But then we're not going to have a realistic conversation because there's rarely any time options are closed on both sides. Usually one person has options open and the other one doesn't. So I agree with you. I agree that options closed on both sides will create the same type of healthiness. But again, I said both options closed on both sides and both options open on both sides will give the same results, the same coin. The issue is usually one person has options on one side. That's all. I was using him. I really liked it. I love, big up to, I love Kirk. I'll put that out there again. I love my Captain Kirk. I lost him in the last timeline jump. And he's a reptilian, which I found out in this timeline. I found out that my Captain Kirk is really a reptile. And I'm really more attracted to him now knowing he is. I love my reptiles. I love you. Big up to all the reptilians on this live. Y'all rock. Serpents in the house, draconians in the house, and all our subterraneans, reptilians. Big up to y'all. Y'all are what makes this planet really, really swazy. Anyway, family, I'm gone. Thank you so much for joining me on this rant. I went left after this. Hopefully anybody I tell you, I get so much, there's people who come on this live. They never know what they're going to get. So sometimes I tell them, listen, if you listen to my live, just listen to the beginning, because I go sidebar all after that, especially if I'm talking more than an hour. I go all over the place. I love, yeah, and I really love the conversation. And there isn't anything that listen, only take what resonates with you. You know, Flurburn is her own kind of species. So, you know, I really appreciate even the shares that you give me from the perspective. Captain Kirk was beamed away. Don't worry, he'll be back in the new season. Captain Kirk will be back on season 3. Anyway, I love you, family. Have a wonderful day. Have a masterful day. Be less judgmental and let the reptiles show themselves and accept them for who they are from a realistic disposition. Okay?